What a noob. Hi, I'm Michael Evers, and you're watching Fit to be Read. So, why Fit to be Read? Well, Fit is the name of my personal training gym in Washington, D.C. Fit is one of the oldest gyms in the city, established in 2002. The gym is about 20 years old. Why is this personal trainer talking about books? Because I love books. I love reading. I love science fiction. I love the escapism of reading, and I've got a lot of things to say about it. So today I'm doing the newbie book tag. There are 11 questions here, and I'm going to dive right in. The first question, why did you start this channel? Again, I love books and I love reading. I was reading Hyperion, one of the trainers at the gym who also really likes science fiction, said, you have to read this. It's the best science fiction I've read. And this is somebody who read a lot of science fiction, so I gave a lot of weight to that. I read Hyperion. It blew me away. It was really, really great. And I didn't want it to end. So after I finished it, I went online just to look for reviews. And I wasn't even aware that much of BookTube. And I stumbled onto some videos and I thought, oh, this is so cool. So I turned on my old Lenovo desktop webcam, which is awful, and I just filmed myself as if I actually had a channel. And I have that review posted, even though it's really terrible video quality and everything, but I'm just speaking off the cuff for a half an hour about this book. And what it does is it kept that book alive longer for me. And so that's what initiated this idea of starting this channel. It's just when I have great books that I've read, it extends the life of that book for me. And so I'm really excited about that with this channel. Number 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I think I'm a really creative person and I have creative ideas. I don't know if that's going to happen right away with this. I think I'm going to do a lot of just kind of general things, talking about books that I like. I think I will have a unique take on a lot of the stuff that I read. I think I'll have unique top 10 lists. I don't think I read what everybody else reads, and I read a lot, so I'm drawing from a large volume of things that I've read and will read. But I'm also going to do interesting stuff, like I'd like to give book recommendations for different age groups. I have 2 kids that are different ages, and I think that could be interesting. And I think that there are a lot of variety in terms of how I review books. One of the things I do a lot of is 5 likes and 5 dislikes. And I like that because there's sort of a challenge in that. Yes, a bad book is just a bad book sometimes, and maybe, yes, a good book is a good book, and maybe there's not anything bad to say about it. I like to challenge myself, and I think that creates interesting content on the screen if I challenge myself and I put some things out there where I've read a really good book, but I've found a way to talk about 5 things that are maybe criticisms or things that just didn't appeal to me in the book. And with a really good book, it's hard to find those, and they may be really small, little nitpicky things, but that's great. Then we have a really in-depth perspective on it. And likewise, I don't like rant reviews. And when I see a rant and I see the thumbnail like this, like somebody read a book that they didn't like, the theatrics, I don't like that. I like the positive. So if there's something that I read that I didn't like or I had a lot of problems with it, you're going to get those 5 dislikes. But I'm going to find a way to find 5 likes in there that I can say something positive about those books. And I think that is kind of unique in this BookTube community. Number 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? The discussion. The most interesting thing to me about BookTube is the idea of having a point of view on something, and I can be very opinionated on things, especially things that I really, really like. And I envision when I have a large enough following or a large enough community that likes what I have to say and likes to exchange with me, I love the idea of carrying on a conversation beyond just that video, and I love the idea of having, a comments section that is actually filled with back and forth discussion that rambles on, because I could comment on something and somebody comments back, and I'm thinking, should I kind of let this come to a natural end before I overwhelm the comment section? I want to overwhelm the comment section because I love to talk about books. Number 4, why do you love reading? Okay, that's a good one. So why do we love reading? I think for some people they might just say, why do I love reading? Because I do. I love it. And I do. But I do, practically, I think, I really value what I get out of it in terms of expanding my vocabulary. I'm a personal trainer and I'm talking, kinesiology and exercise science all day long. And I'm talking, latissimus dorsi and glenohumeral joints and things. Well, actually, I'm not even talking that way so much in the gym. I think that would drive people crazy. But it expands my vocabulary, especially in science fiction. It expands your mind. Yes, it's a release. It's a vacation for your brain. You get transported to different worlds, of course. Especially in science fiction, though, like you're introduced to other people's imaginations and what's possible in discovery and adventure. And I really love that. I think it opens up your brain. And again, I like the learning aspect of just having my vocabulary increased. What book or series got you into reading? So this is drawing way back. I actually just did a tag, and it was an ideal bookshelf tag. So I have a little bit of experience recalling this. So I'm going to say the Three Investigators series. That really got me interested in reading. And it was a really long series, and the books were kind of short, so it was easy to get through them. But they were really cool little mysteries, and I always have loved mysteries. So the Three Investigators series is a really good one, I think, for 8 to 12-year-old kids. And it really began my love of reading. I also remember, being on the floor of my parents' bedroom after we were supposed to be in bed and crawling in and hiding there while they were watching TV so we didn't go to sleep. And I always bring like 4 or 5 books in with me. And like I just remember one being The Last of Mohicans. And I never even read that one, but I just loved being around those books, having the energy of those books around me. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I think this is from a practical sense. I would say, how do you skip ahead of the typical patients? It kind of feels like, you have to be in this a long time to build up a subscribership or whatever. I would love, it's very hard to be patient because I want to already be in that spot where people know me and are because and liking what I have to say so that I can be having those conversations back and forth with people and having the camaraderie around books. So are there things that you can do to go beyond just you just got to wait the time, and if you have good content in stages, you'll get to 500 subscribers and 1,000 subscribers. How do you, other than having a nice thumbnail and all that, how do you kind of game the system a little bit, or not even game the system, how do you fast forward a little bit and overcome that patience and the doldrums of just waiting to pick up little by little? Number 7, what challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? What challenges do you think starting BookTube channel will be the hardest? The patience, absolutely. I don't want to wait. I want to already be there. I don't want to pay my dues. I want people to say, "Oh wow, that guy has got really good videos," and I want to watch everything that he has to talk about. When did you start reading? When I was really young, I tried to think of books that I loved when I was young, and there was a lot. There was one on like U.S. history, another one on world history. There's a picture book about American history, and one about the U.S. states. And I don't remember the name of it, but it was each of the 50 states. And there are a lot of books like this, but this one in particular I would always go back to, and it had interesting facts about each state. I loved that. There was one about the presidents, then a lot of different fables and things like that. But I think the earliest things I remembered were those Three Investigators books. And number 8, when did you start reading? That's the one I just said, so I'm not going to say it again. And number 9, where do you read? So right now in my house, I generally will like to go in the living room, and it's usually when everybody's asleep. Once the kids are down, and it's like crazy, sometimes it's 11 o'clock and they're still up, I will go on the couch and just sit there and read. I will read on the Stairmaster. I am a personal trainer, and that doesn't mean that I always love to work out. I do enjoy fitness, but I also recognize the need for cardiovascular and respiratory health, and I do my kind of boring 30 minutes of Stairmaster, and I will sit there with my book doing who knows what kind of damage to my eyes, but I will read when I'm on the Stairmaster, which is great, makes the time fly by. And then I will read out on the hammock, especially on vacation. If I'm somewhere where there's a hammock, we do a lot of vacations in Central America. And I love that, to just like be sitting back, and yeah, this sounds great, sitting with a coconut, drink, and drinking and reading a book in the hammock. And then in the gym, I'm obviously, spending a lot of time in the gym. So on downtime, I'm usually working. There's not a lot of time for reading, but on those rare moments that I have downtime, I want to pick up the book and just, especially if I'm at a good one, I want to get through it. Then what kind of books do you like to read? Science fiction, absolutely, no doubt. Some of the stuff that I've been reading lately are the Three Body Problem series, the Remembrance of Earth's Past series by Cixin Liu. I just finished and did a review on Death's End, which was a really epic story. I like space opera a lot within science fiction. I guess that would be the subgenre that I have the most interest in. I do read a lot of dystopia and other things too. I want to branch a little bit more into fantasy, and it's just, I don't know, I haven't opened up myself to that as much. I think when I was younger, I might have been more open to diving into fantasy more quickly, but some of the booktubers that I really like do science fiction, but then also a little bit of fantasy, and from those reviews, it's got me more intrigued, so there's definitely some stuff that I want to pick up. I'm not real familiar with Sanderson, but I know that's the name that comes up a lot, and it's pretty, redundant in BookTube, but I assume that is for a reason, so I'm looking forward to jumping into some of that. I also like a historical fiction. Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett was one of my real favorites, and things that introduced me to different cultures. I've been reading The Far Pavilions for a while now, purposely so. Like, I like having that as my 2-year book. It's really long. It's 1,200 pages. I could read it and sit down and read it if I wanted to. I enjoy it so much, though. I like to read a few books and then come back to it. And it's a book that, it's so good that I come back to it and I haven't forgotten where I was in the book. And I can just dive right back in and I know exactly where I am in the story. And it's so good and I kind of don't want it to end. So it's actually been a while since I've gone back to it. And I know I will. It's not one of those ones I'll forget about, because that does happen. This one I won't. I might even read a few more books before I get to it. I'm reading Clara and the Sun right now, which I think a lot of people are reading right now because it's somewhat of a new release. And number 11, what does your book collection look like? It's behind me here, and we've got a couple other levels up there. Again, mostly science fiction. We've got Red Rising series right behind me. You can probably see Three Body Problem. I kind of like the idea of I have the books that are kind of in close focus here, so it might be fun to kind of pick some things out. If you can, or if you want to, I guess, I'd love you to, go down into the comments section and just see how many of the ones that I didn't mention do you see back here. And you can just tell by the cover if you know what any of them are. I guess this would be a little easier if they were facing front, but it actually makes it a little bit more interesting because you're seeing the spine. Like I see Hyperion up there. Anybody else see that? But put that in the comments section. I think that would really be really fun. Thank you for watching today. Michael Leverts, fit to be read. Like, subscribe. Take a second, click the notification bell, and then leave a comment below. Thank you for watching.